Hey, what's up guys? On this episode, as you probably noticed, we are going to be speaking on how we deal with disagreements. Now, there's couples that deal with disagreements in different ways. And this is just again how we do it. And I'm glad to say actually that that's pretty much all we really have is disagreements. There's no raising of the voice. We never really fight, and I know we said it in the past, but for those of you that are subscribers, new subscribers, or are watching us for the first time, we want to pretty much brag about the fact that that we don't believe really in having arguments or raising the voice or belittling one another. At the end of the day, we are a team, and we are we're focused on a common thing. So whatever it is that we're disagreeing on is because we're passionate about that one thing. So that's number one. Whenever we disagree on something, I think that we don't have egos where we automatically think that the other person is wrong and they're right and we're right. Like for example, when I feel that I'm correct, I try to paint the picture to her in a way that I feel, so that then she can determine whether she is needs to adjust her way of thinking, and then vice versa. She lets me know when what she thinks, what she feels, and then of course I, without an ego, attest to it. Because at the end of the day, if you have an ego, you're always going to have one-track mind, that your idea is better, that what you thought originally is what it should be.
To just start it off, I think that if you're not able to hear out the other person, especially if that's the person that you're with, in a relationship with, doesn't necessarily have to be in marriage, because believe me that we're boyfriend, girlfriend, those things that we disagreed on. If you're not able to hear out the other person on their opinion on what it is that they're disagreeing on or you're disagreeing on, then that's just a red flag for you, should be, because then you're just it touches on the ego part, that you're just basically being prideful, and you close out or you tune out whatever the other person wants to say. Then what's the point of being in a relationship if you can't hear out the other person? If you're not able to hear that person out and see what is their opinion onto the case, then there is no point to being in a relationship. Again, we're not perfect. We're not a perfect relationship, but we have seen how we have figured things out. In situations like this, like yes, there has been several disagreements that we've come, but it doesn't give it the right for us to raise our voices to one another. It doesn't give us the right of not speaking to each other or being mad at each other, because disagreements, yes, it can involve emotions, especially to the girl. You can get very emotional onto why aren't you agreeing to what I'm saying, whatever, etc. And those are things that, there's sometimes, whether it's the man or the woman that potentially is correct, maybe like in a case of where, let's say he is correct and I'm not, but I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, yes, no, I think that this should be the way, for example, then the best thing that you can do in his case would be go and pray. Not to manipulate, but to pray. Holy Spirit, open the eyes to Jenny to understand what I'm trying to say, and to see the truth, to see that this is the way, if that is truly the way. For example, if I see something that I don't agree that Ivan is doing or saying or whatever the case is, and I stay quiet, then that's gonna bundle up in me, and it's gonna affect me in the long run. To, let's say he went on going with whatever he decided to do, and then it turns into a negative result, then I'm gonna be like, ha, I told you. Then the pride wants to start playing, then your emotions wants to start playing with you, and it creates a negativity, it creates a bad vibe.
Yeah, no,
per se.
And then also in the fact of when when you don't take the other person into consideration as far as what they're saying, and you empathize with what they're saying, you're also at the same time cutting their influence. And then at the end of the day, what will happen is if you keep, dismissing what their opinion is, they're not going to want to give that opinion. And that's something that I always try to encourage, that we always encourage in one another, is like, oh, what do you think about this? Even with the minimal things, not only to make them feel involved, but mainly because you may not see certain things the same way from the outside looking in, whether it be, on a relationship level, or whether it be on a personal level with whatever we're dealing, even with like clothes. There's something as minimal as clothes, just like disagreeing and working through it and being able to the disagreements only happen when you have two different opinions or more, and you're able to contest it. I personally always love the opinions of my wife, people that I care about, that I value their opinion, simply because of that. I know that I don't have all the right answers. I think we've learned from one another more in the disagreements than in the agreements. Just like in life, you learn usually more from your failures than your victories. Why? Because you know now how not to do it. And that's pretty much the essence of that. Like, disagreements are good. Disagreements are not something to be really frowned upon. It's just really overcoming those disagreements and making an agreement come out of it, and not push your opinion on the other person, but have a valid point, not from an egocentrical place. But at the end of the day, there's also comes a place the role in the house and the role of each other when that disagreement happens. In our house, and how we do things is, me as the head, it's a huge responsibility, and of course I don't take it lightly. So if she disagrees on something that I enforce, it's really on me. Matter of fact, if she's able to convince me that her opinion is the right opinion or the right answer or whatever, yet it was a wrong, it's on me, because I made the ultimate decision.
Right.
So when it comes to us, I open the floor obviously every time to hear her out, but at the end of the day, the decision is mine, and I have to be held accountable for that decision that I make for myself, before God, and before my house. I'm the one that administrates, or the one that has the final say.
Yeah, I think it's important, especially when it comes to when it comes to life decisions that are crucial, that whatever decisions that we make as a couple, that are very crucial life decisions for our marriage, for our future, etc. That even, let's say, if I believe in something that he doesn't, not believe, or say, if I have an opinion on something that he doesn't see it, if I'm not 100% sure on my opinion, I take it to God, and I try to make that whatever decision we make is godly led, because imagine that we can't do life without God. If we don't have the direction of God in our lives, then it's gonna be a disorder. It's gonna be a disaster. So in my case, when I see that there's a disagreement and it has to do with whatever decision we're about to make or whatever, I try to focus on okay, what is God's will for this? What is the direction that he wants us to take? Like, not Jenny's or what I want, for what I can gain or whatever. No, what is it that God is saying for this decision? What is the direction that God wants to lead us for this decision as a couple? Because like he said from the beginning, we're a team. Like, if he wins, that means I win. If I win, that means he wins. Yes. Like, there's no losing team here. There's no losing person. It's one team. So
one team, one dream.
So I mean, I think it's so important for prayer to be, if you guys are in disagreement and it's such a big deal to you guys, then go pray about it. pray about it and ask the Holy Spirit to reveal, you know, the right path for you guys, for the decision that you're making, because who better else than him, you know?
It just makes it a lot easier when you're just truly open with one another and you leave it to what you create an atmosphere where opinions are welcome and it's okay for you to, you know, disagree at the end of the day. So with that said, I hope that helps you in one way or another. Understand that disagreements can happen in the workplace and, you know, friendships, family. It's not just in marriage. This is how we deal with that, and we encourage you. Maybe you have some disagreements with, you know, your mom, your boyfriend, girlfriend, or whatever. Maybe you need some sort of guidance on how to, hey, this person is just super stubborn, how do I go about it? In whatever way we can, we're more than willing to help, whether it's you leaving a comment down below or you going to our IG, JenIvan Chronicles, and sending us a DM. We're more than willing to, you know, help out. We've done that a couple times already with some people who have reached out to us, and we love that. That's really what this is for. It's not about for us to look at a camera and, you know, feel special. It's really about you guys, and we don't get anything from this. All we want to do is serve with what we have and what God has blessed us with, and that's some sort of wisdom that we can give onto you guys. We're more than willing to do. So make sure that you like this video if you liked it. If you learned even one thing, go ahead and hit the thumbs up. Go ahead and subscribe as well right now if you haven't already. A lot of you are watching the videos and not subscribing, so you're not getting the notifications of these and you're not keeping up. We're gonna have a lot more content. We're gonna have, you know, a lot of fun. We have a trip coming next month we're super excited about. We'll tell you more on the IG. Like, subscribe. We love you.